What I love most about Where in the World is that we get the chance to speak and hear some of the most amazing stories and testimonies from our artists from all over the world. And this conversation is really no exception. It's with the amazing Kay Anthony, originally from Jamaica, but has lived for so long around Canada and the US of A. He shares that his music is really more than songs. He talks about the community and the tribe of people that have really helped him along his journey. He speaks about the inspiration that comes from the creator, not just the creativity that he gets to enjoy with this music. I really hope that you enjoy this conversation as much as I have.
Hey, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
It's so good to have you. This is not your first time with A Step Forward, and we just love it when we get a chance to reconnect kind of with the wider family and community that A Step
Yes.
Forward is kind of connecting with and reaching out to all over the world. Now, before I get going, this is Where in the World. Tell us where in the world are you, and tell us a little bit about the place that you're based in.
Hmm. So I'm currently in Michigan, United States, in grad school. So I attend Andrews University, which is in Berrien Springs,
Wow.
quite country. Um, I'm about 6 hours from Canada, Ontario.
Wow.
Yeah. What else can I give? I'm not too far from Indiana. Very
Okay.
close,
And I'm
probably,
sensing an
probably.
accent there. So you got to tell
Yes.
us where that's coming from too.
So the accent you're hearing, I'm originally from Jamaica. I migrated to Canada, and now I'm here in grad school in the United States.
That's
So
amazing. So, like a lot of different places that you're connected with there, but stateside, that's exciting. What's it been
yeah,
like, kind of that transition from being in Jamaica, which has got some great, strong cultural attributes, and now you're in the States, which is also very different. What was that transition like for you?
the transition was easier. I think the harder transition would have been moving from Jamaica to Saskatchewan, which is can get to -50. Very
Wow.
cold. So here, Barron Springs, Michigan is a little bit warmer than Saskatchewan. So
Mm,
it's the temperature wise is a little bit better. Um, Quite similar in nature, in look, aesthetic, if I will. Um, a lot of farm areas, corn, and yeah, yeah.
I
So
love that. I
it's a
love it
farm,
so much.
state, I would say.
That's amazing. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Kay Anthony. Where did you come up with the name Kay Anthony? Is this your actual name? Is it a stage name? What's been the journey with that there?
So the name K. Anthony. So I started out singing when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
I didn't anticipated that I would have gone into the music business, so or in ministry. After completing high school, I wanted to become an agronomist, and so when my mom had reached out to the institution, they weren't accepting at the time. So she said to me, "Hey, do you mind doing music for at least a year, and then you could move on?" And I started the program. I fell in love with the program and decided that I wouldn't change. During that time, I a friend of mine guided me into songwriting, and I started the process. I used to go by my real name, which is Kevin Fowler, but then a country singer reached out to me from Texas and said, "Hey, my friend, how are you doing?" We followed each other, and he said, "Unfortunately, you can't use the name because it's registered. So although it's your legal name and it's my legal name, it's registered." And I said, "Okay, cool." And one day I was thinking what I could go by. And then the idea just came, use my first initial and my middle name. So I said, "Okay, cool." And I said it to my producer. And he said, "Actually, this is better. It flows nicer and it makes you stand out." And I said, "Okay." And I used the name K. Anthony.
I love that story. That's incredible. And I think when you have a name that might be kind of shared by others, it's harder to fine tune it. And then I
It
love that you
is.
found a chance to kind of branch out and establish what you now have. And it really does ring so nicely on the tongue. So that's amazing. I like to kind of find out from our guests who share the Where in the World experience with us, what is something kind of like a strange fact about themselves. Do you have almost like a secret pet hate that not many people know about you?
Pet hate. Oh, yeah. It's weird. I'm very quiet in the mornings. So I don't generally like noise. For a period, I have to be in this there's a cocoon where there's no noise.
Do you know what? I like that. If that's your pet hate, that's so good. There is
Yeah.
something definitely to be said about how you start and set the tone of your day. I love that idea. But I can imagine like if you have a very robust family or that kind or friends like that, slim chance that's going to happen. So I can imagine that is a little bit challenging at that time. Let's talk about kind of your journey with music. You shared a little bit about how you started out with that amazing workshop. Did you envision it kind of panning out? I mean, we're talking, it's been beyond a decade now, has it not? How long has it been for you? And tell us a bit about that journey.
There have been different stages. So I got signed very early. I got signed probably
Wow.
when I was about 19. That didn't go so well. And so it taught me a lot of things. I needed to learn how to maneuver the business aspect of ministry and
Mm,
also learn how to forgive when you're wrong.
wow.
And that part was hard. It took me a while to allow myself to be so vulnerable, and to understand that hurt sometimes comes or misunderstanding, but you within the body have to understand that we are humans, people make mistakes. Ask God to give you the power to forgive because you too need forgiveness. And so
Right.
that part was hard, and I was able to bounce back from it. uh I'm trying to see if I'm answering your question.
You
Yeah.
definitely are. You definitely are.
Remind me so I make sure that
It's just
I
I just wanted to hear more about kind of the journey that that music has been like for you, and
yeah.
did you envision it's gonna kind of pan
Mhm.
out for this long period of time that it has been?
So I had big hopes and big dreams, as we most time do, but I never saw it how it has played out now.
Mm,
I'm very dedicated. I'm a hard worker to the gift that God has given to me because I believe in the fact that you should be a good steward.
yeah.
Um, and so this for me is more of a reminder of what he's capable of doing, not so much
Mm,
that I've worked for an award, but more so he's telling me, hey, giving me a pat saying you have done a good job. Don't bask too much on it, but just there are times when you should look and tell yourself that you have done a good job or you're doing a good job and just
mhm.
to continue. And so I really appreciated the fact that they would have taken the time to listen to the work that I've put in and seeing it fit that I should be honored in such a manner. I very
That's
much appreciate it.
incredible. I think it's really important to, like you say, use that kind of conscious and intentional time of reflection and just take stock of like, look how far we've come. What has God really
Yes.
done? And
Yes.
like you say, not to get comfortable and dwell or take residence in one particular
Residence in that.
chapter
Yeah.
when you have a
Correct.
story to kind of continue moving
Hmm.
forward with. But it is really important. I think I like to think about it as sometimes we can kind of build memorials actually with the goodness of God. And when we
That's
build those
I like that.
memorials, it
Yes.
fuels the faith to keep going because we always, his word tells us that, you know, the latter house is greater than the former house. This idea that there is purpose, that greater comes even more so when we continue to move towards him. So I think what you're saying is just so helpful to many creatives. And we see most of our artists and creatives in kind of like the highlight reels. So whether when the album comes out and it's a finished and complete excellent work, I will definitely talk about yours in a moment. But it's also like we talk about the element of what we see in social media. It's very polished, the image, the advertising, the marketing. It's a lot, but it's important to take a look at the excellence of what we're capable of doing. But in the same time, it doesn't like let's not dwell there because there's still more on this journey, right?
Yes.
What would you say have been some of the things that maybe have kind of through this incredible journey and through those reflection moments that you shared a little bit earlier, that kind of contributed to the development of your personal faith? Because it sounded like it wasn't an easy road. What did that do for you?
Allow me to have more reliance on God, realizing that
Mm,
I don't necessarily dictate how fast I grow or how fast I achieve. Um, so it have caused me to spend more time on my knees, spend more time in the Word, which in result will make the relationship between myself and God stronger.
amazing.
Um, I've had to dive and navigate through depression. I've had to dive and navigate through what uh, all the fears of what notoriety brings. And so there's a point in time I had. So there's a song I wrote. It started "Don't Give Up." It was during a time where I felt like giving up. So the song was actually I was actually speaking to myself, more so not to someone to tell him not to give up. That didn't come as yet. I needed to know that I need to understand that the climatic condition around yourself, around your space, will not be the same every day. But that doesn't affect who God is,
Mm,
because He lives outside of that, and so He's capable and able to allow you to go through a process, knowing what the outcome will be, and guiding you through it. I then wrote a song titled "Billboard for Christ." I might not make it under. I actually made some statement which my best friend laughed about, because I spoke that I might never get the chance to go on a red carpet or achieve an award, but I will be a billboard for Christ. I first needed to understand that that is not necessarily what makes me the artist that God has called me to be. But the key thing is I maintain my values and my principle as a Christian and point people to Jesus Christ. In so I just put it in caps and say, I'm a billboard for Christ. These things might never happen in my life
mm,
or in my career, but the key thing is to be a billboard for Christ, pointing people to Him. And
that is
so
so encouraging.
all of that during those times have allowed me to fall in love with Him more. And don't be afraid of the process. Allow it to play out itself and allow God to do what He needs to do in you. Um, and you will come out much better, I would say.
That's so encouraging. That's such a blessing to hear that. And as much as you spent time, it sounded like really personally and intentionally on your own pursuing kind of an intimate space with God. Did you have a community or influences that really kind of helped you along that journey?
For sure. In my deepest moments, my best friend, who was a doctor in Canada, Lloyd Douglas, has been their accountability partner and someone to remind me of who I am. Sharon
Mm,
Rurak, my then manager, who is now my PR and plus more, because she's still wear the hat, um, has been there at my lowest. And for someone who didn't really know me for a long time, believed in what God gave to me and believe
mm,
it was being prepared for the world. I've watched her battle cancer last year and just see her resilience and
wow.
see her fight for life. Um, it's just a beauty to have people around you who don't focus on themselves but focus on you, and God has prepared them and put them in your life to allow you to become better and allow whatever gift He has for you to come forth. And that's a beautiful thing. I think there's such a beauty in collaborating and coming together, working for one cause, especially a cause in spreading the good news of salvation. And I lift my hearts to them. My wife, who is my biggest cheerleader, I've stood by me for a very long time, from college days, knowing me as just a simple guy, going to the studios late. Um, my sibling, my brother, my parents, and there are many more people who might appear to be a distance, but they are so closer, because there's point
Mm.
in time they will send out a word that you needed. And so I'm appreciative of all of them. I can't do this by myself. If anyone think that they can, it's a bad idea. You have to have a community, and it's through that community you're able to develop and grow.
That's amazing. And I think sometimes I feel in this era that there sometimes comes it kind of it slips in that in order to make it happen, we need to make it happen ourselves. I think we work almost like quite an
Yes,
independent culture in the West, if that makes sense. But that what you're
that's
describing
correct.
is actually so kind of counterculture, particularly when we are focused on not just living through our skills, but also when we're doing it purposefully for the kingdom. It really doesn't work on
Yes.
your own. What would you encourage, or how would you encourage others who are on this creative journey, or they're trying to aspire to similar steps that you've taken with your career? And how do they find their tribe, their people that you describe in that community? How could they find that for themselves?
One, I think you need to be honest with yourself to say where you're
Mm.
at, especially spiritually. Don't allow your space to be filled with people who agree with every single thing that you do. You need someone
Yeah.
who's accountable, or people who will hold you accountable for your actions, for the walk that you have chosen, which is a spiritual walk, to say, hey, that's not it. Come, let us talk. Let us pray. They need to have people like that in their corner, good mentors. Um, they themselves need to understand that they need to be a student all the time, be prepared to learn, and never be the biggest voice in the room. That's a very bad place to be in. But have people who have had more experience than yourself, so that you can learn, so that they can guide you. Um, just try to experience and appreciate the different phases of your life. Don't rush it, but know when you need to make a change with something within yourself that is not right. Be very prayerful about it. So you need people who are always up to pray with you, late, early, knowing
Mm.
that you will have different things coming at you. Um, because we tend to spend more time focusing on the creative aspect, but that's not the key thing. You need to be plugged in with the source correctly, so that whatever you need to bring forward can easily be transmitted or be downloaded. Um, and so you need people around you who cares about your spirituality or your spiritual needs. The creative aspect will come, at least for me. I think my best songs is, I would say all of them. However, there are songs that I feel I was so connected. It's as if I simply did nothing, and I could hear it as if someone was relaying it to me, and all I did was to write it out. Um, of course, God will give you songs in different time and in different way. Um, yeah, so you need to have people that will keep you grounded around you. You need to be aware of the space you're in and how you're going to navigate it in terms of creativity. So you need people who are creative, because you don't have all the answers. You don't have all the abilities. You need people who would believe in what you do and be willing to partner to get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
That's so good. So good, so valuable there. And I think that's kind of almost not the way that we would potentially expect that equation to work, but really like you said, it is about plugging into the source. And also just like look for the people that
Yeah,
you can see are just as invested about the better part of that calling rather than just wanting to agree with you so you feel like you're in a good place about these things. I think that's so important.
yeah.
Tell us about your incredible album Arrow. Was there a specific kind of message behind this body of work? How has it been different to some of your other bodies of work so far?
It's different because in starting a journey, you tend to have an end goal in mind, and you're generally excited and upbeat about it. As made mention, you go through different phases. However, you sometimes come across or encounter unexpected hurdles. So it's really, sometimes it feels as if you're being pulled back and stretched,
Mm.
and you feel like you're gonna break. But that's what the master archer does in obtaining or allowing the arrow to reach its destination. He has to pull it back. And so God for me is the master archer, and we are the arrow. There's a specific destination that God wants us to arrive at. Sometimes you would want to take charge of the the bow, the arrow, and everything. But it's smart to allow the master archer to do his thing, even when you feel like you're breaking, because so much comes flooding in.
Mm.
The climatic condition around you can vary. However, it's the master archer's duty to know how to maneuver that arrow within that, whether it's windy, whether it's too cloudy, whether it's sunny, whether it's raining. And I've developed the faith and understanding that it doesn't matter what's going on around you.
Mm.
If you submit to him, give him your will, the arrow at the right time will arrive at the right place. And so that has been my life. There were times, there were hurdles, I felt like I would never make it. However, he directed me through that. I never knew that I would have moved to Canada. I never knew that I would have been here in grad school at this time. And so I can look back, as I said in the speech, I'm a country boy, proud, had big dreams, big hopes, but had no idea how I would have arrived
Mm-hmm.
there. He made it possible. All you got to do is to put yourself into his care, into his hands, and allow him to guide you. He never misses.
That's such a stunning, stunning message behind this album. Are there any particular tracks in the album that kind of like have been really maybe particular for you? It's a great set of songs. It's a great album. I love all the vibes. I've been listening to it on my playlist for some time. But is there any particular songs from the album list that was really defining for you?
The song Arrow. See, all the songs is speaking about a particular time within my life,
Mm.
within the journey. But that one encapsulated everything and said, hey, what I've brought you from here. A stranger. It's really the prodigal son. Sometimes you feel like you're the prodigal son, like things are spiritually, things are probably feeling messed up at a specific time. God brought you through it. Happy. You're gonna have happy days. That song was actually written during COVID when there was so much going on and people were, to me, less happy. But I was saying, hey, we tend to focus on the big things and give God thanks for the big things. But the simple
Mm.
thing was that I was alive and I can be happy just for that. Um, Junk. You sometimes feel like you're on a spiritual high and it's good. You feel like the Holy Spirit is moving, and so that's another experience that you'll have on your Christian journey, like you're being a high. So it's almost like a wave. So I'm really taking
Mm.
you through the courses of life of like a roller coaster. That's what life really is. You're up, you're down, you're happy, you're sad. But that doesn't dictate who God is. God lives outside of that, and so you can rest assured that that won't break you, but it will make you into whom God wants you to be. And so that what I wanted to give our people to receive in the music. Doesn't matter which point you're at, this is going to be your end result. Master Archer, or he's the potter. He will pull you in close to himself because that's needed in molding and shaping the vase, and he will definitely fill you after and use you since he have make you into the person that he wants you to be. You will accomplish the task.
That is so encouraging. Drunk is one of my favorite tracks of all of the songs. So I love that track so much. It's so good to hear kind of the story behind it, how powerful that testimony is. What would you say? I mean, this is, I just can't kind of get enough about that album. And I really trust everybody that comes across this conversation will be inspired to go and seek it out themselves. Not just because it's a great body of work, there is so much excellence, the musicianship is so high, and so the production levels. I would say that how would you encourage others to kind of pursue, I think, what you're talking about? And I think this comes through again, the source of how you've been able to navigate what the songs communicate. How would you encourage others on that journey?
For me, I don't do it by myself. So
Mm.
I I worked with multiple producers who think differently. Um, I'm not saying you need to do that, but it's more asking God what is it that He wanted to bring to the world now, and He has put something inside of your heart also, and He also wants you to use your personal journeys and stories, and experiences, and you can also observe people because we all have a common ground.
Yeah.
And so to allow the songs to speak is to be true and to be honest with the experience and understand how to use the pen to bring out the story
Yeah.
lines. Be transparent. There are points in times you'll need to be vulnerable. Um, yeah, and just have people who have somewhat mastered the craft more than yourself when it comes to writing, when it comes to production. I've worked with Kevin Weinbarger, Josh Ferg, Pete Temple, Derek, Chris Jackson, master penmanship when it comes to writing music. Am I leaving out anyone? All the persons that have lent their gifts or loaned their gifts to what the body of work that I wanted to create. I'm really appreciative of them, because I was intentional in not doing this by myself.
Mm.
I was also intentional in being a little bit more eclectic in terms of the genres. Um, yeah, because I wanted to speak to a wider audience. So I would say, yeah, community, not too much, more community can bring forth beauty, and so that's what that was what I relied on, not more so in myself.
That's amazing and so encouraging. And I know that that will be, I think, such a kind of like a light for many people to kind of really follow on their path. So I'm so encouraged to hear that, and a lighthouse to like follow that. That is great advice, great wisdom in terms of our journey really is not about being an island on that process. It's really about connecting with the people that are called to get us there. We all have our part to play, which is incredible. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us here at Where in the World and A Step Forward, Kay Anthony. We just are so blessed to have your testimony and to hear some more about the real insights and intimacies of the journey of what this album has done for you. Before we let you go, how can people find, support, and follow your work?
You can follow me on Instagram, K Anthony Live, Facebook, K Anthony Live, Twitter, K Anthony Live. My website is K Anthony Live Music. And I want to leave with them my favorite text, Proverbs 3 5 to 6 because I live by that. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will surely direct your path.
Amen
Be
and amen.
motivated, be determined, trust God as a creative, work hard, bring people around you who believe in what you have to offer, and He will see you through.
That is incredible. What words there. Thank you so much, Kay Anthony. We're so excited to follow the continuous development of your work and what God is doing through you. It's been such a blessing to have you. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Carla. It's a pleasure to be with you guys and to share. I appreciate you guys for your support. Thank you.